it has been a big issue with us regarding the learning of the students as regards higher order thinking. Now, this session we will look at what are the takeaway of today's session. What are the employability skills? I'm sure many of things you may be familiar, but how to do that? What is the involvement of the students? What is the involvement of the faculty? How can I embed these skills in the student in the class itself? So, what are employability skills? What are salient features of NEP 2020, which act as a catalyst to imbibe employability skills? So, NEP, as we all know, is a very detailed and exhaustive and important document to improve our educational system and processes. Which are those features which enable us to think on this line and implement it? Then how can I integrate employability skills in my educational process? पहले भी तो हम पढ़ाते रहे हैं. We have been teaching. Our system is so old. So what is so important now? How can I imbibe employability skills in the student while they are being taught in the classes in the institution? What are higher order thinking skills and their characteristics relevant to employability skill? What are the instructional techniques that we can use to deploy to imbibe higher foster skills in the students? Now let us see what is the employable skill. Employable skill implies what helps us to acquire employment, job. That's what the employability skill would signify. If a skill does not enable us to get a job, to get paid, so we will say our education processes, our education system, as we have limitations. So when we say employability skills, they can be broadly thought of technical skills, cognitive thinking skills, social and emotional intelligence. Soft skills or core skills, as they are also many times referred to. So we have been strong emphasis on technical skills. Our students are very good. Our faculty is very competent. But our focus has been mainly on the technical teaching the students. With the rapid expansion of the higher education all over the world, around the world, there is an increasing demand for employees with effective core skills. Earlier it was fine, technical skill. We learned core skills on the job itself. Now things have changed. Because the nature of jobs have changed, the technology has changed. So the way we function, it has changed. So the requirement of having soft skills or core skills students have become very important. The future success of employee depends on having employees who have social, cognitive, that is intellectual thinking and emotional skills. And we all know education is the education plays a critical role in training our students, in educating our students, to help them develop skills which are required. So employability skills would mean our students should have skills not only technical, that means the discipline-wise, but it should have cognitive, social, and emotional intelligence. Why should it have? Now, if we look at industry and employer emphasize that if graduates be adept at these skills. Now look the demand of the industry, demand of the employer, the kind of skill they're asking for, the knowledge of discipline areas, communication skills, social skills and responsibilities, interpersonal and cultural skills, leadership and team skills, problem solving and scientific skills, managerial and technical skills, lifelong learning skills. That means the kind of skill which employer expects from the student is so wide, which we need to be familiar with, which we need to impart to our students, train our students. Only then they will become good citizens, they will become good workers, they will become leaders, and so on. Now, if you look at generic employability attributes, students should have, look, every attribute that employers look for is they should have ICT skills, a motivated person should have confidence, be a team player, should have good understanding, should be trustworthy and reliable, hardworking. Look at this slide. Presentation skills, have good qualifications. So the employability skills, which are or the attributes which are expected from our students, are very wide. I had just summed up when I said technical skills and core skills. An interesting thing is many of these are natural characteristics. For example, while others can be imbibed and enhanced by appropriate education and training. For example, thinking skills, they are natural skills. Creativity, they are natural. Having a good habit is a natural. So I will just let you know many of these attributes are already present in human being. Already human brains have many of these aspects already available which nature has provided us. The purpose of education is to ignite them, like critical thinking, emotions, positive attitude. Now, nature has given us all these things. The purpose of education is to ignite them. There have been a lot of studies all over the world. The kind of, the nature of this requirement of the industry changes. The technology changes. So the type of skills which students need to acquire, they also are shifting, they are changing. See, a study of World Economic Forum in 2018 came out that in this decade, that is 2020-30, the most important skills which will be needed for the newer jobs, like say jobs due to the new technologies like AI technologies or complex problem solving skills, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordination with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation and cognitive flexibility, and others. Now, please appreciate that these skills need to be imbibed in the students while they are learning in the institution or they have to do external agencies. Now, NEP says if we reorient our educational curriculum, if we reorient our teaching learning processes, these skills can be imbibed in the students while they are still studying in the institution. Now, similarly, generic skills, which are very important, are in great demand and can get a job so quickly. Analytical and critical thinkers, creative and innovative designers, problem solvers, effective communicators, self-motivated and confident, globally aware, effective collaborators, finally and economically literate, then socially responsible, digital, and so on. Growth and entrepreneurial mindset. Please appreciate here. I will explain it to you what it means, and indicating that the modern times are expecting our students to have these skills in order to be successful in their career. This is what is the requirement of the generic environment requirement of the employers. Now, if you look at our national education policy, which was approved way back about 4 years back, and the policy gives us the vision mission of the system of education, which needs to be reoriented to meet the demands of the present system. And the goal is to transform India's education system, let's say, within another 2 decades or so. So NEP gives a vision. The NEP, National Education Policy, envisions an India-centered education system that continues directly transforming our nation substantially into equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high-quality education to all. Now, this is a vision. How can I fulfill this vision? How can I make my education system which trains our students to be great, not only leaders, thinkers, entrepreneurs, scientists, which can compete in the international arena. So, if the objectives of NEP are the develop in our students attributes such as discussion based on teaching, developing decision making, critical thinkers, discovery oriented teaching, developing reality, being a multidisciplinary thinker, having value based education, discussion based teaching. Now, it's not only a one way traffic, like a teacher comes and delivers the lecture. NEP says it should be discussion based. That means students should also be involved in the learning process and should be learner centric. Kindly appreciate these are the objectives of NEP 2020. And if you look at these objectives are acting as a catalyst and motivating the educators, motivating education institutions that reorient your educational processes, implement those instructional methods whereby students gain these attributes, gain which are employability skills. Now, NEP says design your curriculum, which is outcome oriented. See, you will recall in the last session, we had discussed about the curriculum design. The curriculum had certain features. Now, those features have to be such that they help the student to be able to acquire all those skills which are needed by the industry, which are needed by the society. So the NEP curriculum, which we talked last time, say holistic integrated learning. The curriculum emphasizes learning across disciplines, integrating subjects like arts, humanities, sciences, sports. That is a multidisciplinary learning. Aim is to promote well-rounded development of students and allow them to explore their interests. Why so? Because industry wants it. Then the choice of the student should be flexible. NEP 20 introduces flexible subject, allowing students to choose from a wider range of subjects and create personalized learning pathways. Now, please see here, NEP says adopt a curriculum which is flexible. Why? So that students learn those, acquire those skills, acquire those technical knowledge which is required by the industry. That means the employability skills are the focus of the NEP 2020 when it's making suggestions that students should have a choice as regard the what they want to study, keeping in view their interests and so on. And then it says emphasis on critical thinking and problem solving. Students should be competent. Students should be able to solve new problems. NEP promotes the development of critical thinking and problem-solving skills through various pedagogical approaches. That means adopt certain those methods, emphasize those techniques which enable the student, which equip the student to become thinkers, critical thinkers, creative thinkers. That's with growth mindset. Now, when I say and be able to solve problems, see now the problem which we are facing now, they are different than what they were about 10 years back. So what we taught our students 10 years back, or what if our curriculum is continuing as that one, their learning they will not be able to face the newer problems coming up. So NEP says equip the students with higher thinking skills such as critical thinking, creative thinking, problem solving skills. That's the emphasis. This includes learn not only experiential learning, project based learning, inquiry based and team based learning. Now, please see here, the curriculum has to be reoriented so that the student teaching learning, they incorporate these features. So the students' knowledge goes up, right? But they should have the strong skills also. Then NEP says reassess your method of examination. The policy calls for shift from mainly examination to a more holistic assessment system. Holistic assessment system says you include formative and summative assessment, continuous comprehensive evaluation, learning, focus on project-based and experiential learning. Now, please see here, why should be so? So that students acquire the employability skills. So to gain the employability skill, students need to be educated and trained through our curriculum. You design our curriculum so that these higher thinking skills or these employability skills are students are equipped with the employability skills while they are learning in the institution, while they are being taught. Now, curriculum developer need to create flexible and integrated learning materials that carry diverse learning needs and promote critical thinking, design thinking, problem solving, life skills, which are 21st century employability skills. Now, please see here, this is this is how NEP is acting as a catalyst, or it is forcing the institutions or teachers to focus on these things. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have been quite good. Our students are good, but if let us say if the presently there are 20% or 30%, 40% employable, why not 100% employable? How can I achieve that? So additionally, they need to incorporate technology effectively and develop assessment that align with the learner outcome of the curriculum. Now, NEP says, prepare your curriculum which is student-centric, which I discussed this with you last time. Now, the present education system is teacher-centric. Teacher comes, he is focusing more on the what is given in the textbooks. He is more focusing more on the knowledge. He's not focusing on the higher thinking skill. He is teaching his textbook examination oriented. There is not much emphasis on real life practical problems. Lab experiments are morely simple verification experiments. Kit culture dominates most of the lab experiment. Lack of method design aspect of the project. Student internship industry is very limited. Now that means our students gain a lot of theoretical knowledge, but they are not gaining the skills which can make them required in the industry. So we find that that's the reason. If students don't find they have the good chances of employability, they don't take much interest. And this if you look at this slide, if I go on saying, accept what I say as a teacher, be quiet and write down everything I say, students are rejecting that. Students don't accept that. Reason being, students know what are the employability skills. How can they get the job? This is a slide which you can see on the website of MIT. We need to do that. And NEP has been so good in motivating, in catalytic in doing all these things. Now see, when NEP says focus on skill development. Now, skill development, important critical thinking, problem solving, lifelong learning, prepare students for dynamic job market. Now NEP says do this. So we have to do this. Now then say promotes flexible learning pathways with multiple entry and exit points, allowing students to choose subject based on their interests and aptitude. Now, fostering innovation entrepreneurship, encouraging interdisciplinary project-based learning, nurturing creativity, innovation, bridging digital gap, that means making them digital citizens, aim to provide equal access to quality education, bringing technology into curriculum, building a global workforce. NEP promotes international collaboration and exchange programs for students for a globalized workforce. आप कहेंगे सर ये आप क्यों मुझे बता रहे हैं? This I am conveying it to you. These are the this is how NEP is have those features which are acting as a catalyst and forcing the institutions to make the student to learn the modern 21st century skill, which I mentioned in the beginning, which the employer needs. So focus on student learning and development lays on recognize identified sourcing unique capability of each student. Now, as I mentioned, every student is unique. His learning capabilities are unique. His skills are unique. Now, the nature has given the competence to every student. Now, they are unique. If we are to be able to teach students where they are good, how can I do that? I can do it if I am looking at the interest of student, how student can be involved. When students are involved in this multidisciplinary and holistic education across social sciences, emphasis on conceptual understanding, higher level thinking, creativity, ethics, and human values. Now, please see that this is what I had mentioned in the beginning. Now, if you allow me, I will go back to the slides just to give you an idea. This is what they wanted. This is what the employer wants. All these skills, attributes, which are acting as employability attributes, are being emphasized by NEP 2020. Right? Now, these things. Now, if I go over to see how can I do these things. Now, the route I can do this, I need to reorient my teachers and students. Now, with due regard and due respect for the teachers, many of us don't know what are the thinking skills. Please don't mind if I'm saying all these things. Many of us don't know what are the real complex problem solving skills. We are good in, I'm repeating, we are good in cognitive, in textbook teaching, but now we have to go beyond. So in order to be able to imbibe the employability skills among the students, the role of the students is, teachers is, and the students is, it is not only students, teachers are also responsible, understanding creativity. How many student teachers understand what are the creativity attributes? What are the innovation attributes? What are the other 21st century skills? And now they need to be able to understand what is what how to, what are the attributes of creativity. Teachers, what is the process of enhancing the creativity among the students? What kind of assignment should be given? What kind of problem should be there? What kind of assignment should be? How many teachers are familiar? So it is essential for an educator to be able to foster 21st skills in the engineering students or in our students, provided the teacher himself or herself knows these things. Here we are lacking. Student must also be then, not only that, student must also be aware or need to be made aware about 21st century skills and how these can be imbibed. Employ 21st century employability skills. We need to teach and train students about 21st century employability skill, what it entails, its benefit as well as its strategies. तो पहली चीज जो है वो स्टूडेंट्स को भी और फैकल्टी को भी need to understand what are the employability skills. In fact, many times they are referred to as 21st century skills is because these skills are certainly much more than what they were earlier, let us say in the 20 in the earlier times. Now, when we apply on these minds, we enable learner to be aware and understand their own strengths and challenges with regard to 21st century skills and be equipped to taking these challenges. Student को भी पता है कि innovation क्या है, teacher को भी पता है. So they will think along those lines. They will work down those lines. It will not be purely examination oriented. These skills, please now note here, these skills can be learned and practiced during the period when the student is in the institution. If our teaching, learning, and assessment process and practice are modified and reoriented. That means these can be imbibed if we implement effectively outcome-based education system. We prepare, and I had discussed with you briefly about the curriculum. So there are many other things which can be need to be done in order to do these things. Now, when I say student-centric system, this NEP says the student-centric system sees you decide as faculty, as an institution, what do you want your student to be? If I want my student to be a good entrepreneur, if I want my student to be easily employable, if he's employed let's say, in a very good organization, or he is able to in an organization which is working on the current technologies, then NEP says think beforehand. What do you want your students to be? Begin with the end in mind. So this is possible. This is possible because outcome-based education framework mandates these things. You must have been exposed to outcome-based education framework in some other session where the learning outcomes are designed with a view to what our students will be learning. Our curriculum is designed, and I remember when I was discussing curriculum with you, then the curriculum was prepared keeping in view what the industry wants. Now, there will be some repetition here, but you will be able to see how the higher thinking skill and employability attributes are built into the whole system if I implement it like this. When I say begin with the end in mind regarding student, the aim is to develop and enhance the natural ability of students. Now, when I say the basic philosophy of outcome-based learning approach is all students have talent, and it is the job of institution to enable students to develop it. The role of institution is to find ways for students to succeed rather than finding ways for students to fail. That means him looking at it, when the student fails, mean he after his study, he is able to get a good employment, he succeeds, he becomes a good citizen. Then this is the role of the faculty, role of the institution to ensure this. How it can do that? It can do this if we keep in mind what are the attributes for success in life, what are the employability skills, what are the industry or what does the life, what skills are needed to be to be prosperous, to be healthy, to be happy in society. So keep that in mind. So OB says experience for every student, not just for a few. So this means OB emphasizes continuous improvement of student learning and measurement of outcome. How NEP has taken us employability skills. Now, when I say employability skills, it involves multidisciplinary. When I say employability skills, it involves, let's say, emotional intelligence. Now, these are all to be built into the system. How can I do this in the classroom? How can I do this in the classroom? When I'm imbibing these skills in the student, I'm imbibing it through the educational process. I am imbibing it when they are being taught in the class. How should I teach my student in the class? What should I emphasize in the class? How should I assess in the class? This is what I am trying to reorient you so that employability skills are already able to be available to be made among the students and so on. Please see these things. Now, UGC has done it. Again, this is the NEP's direction. Then learning outcome-based curriculum framework. Now, why all this should be done? Well, the last time I discussed with you that when I prepare my syllabus, when I implement my curriculum, then I should put emphasis on those attributes which are needed by the employers. Like they need a student who is highly competent. They need a student who is ethical, who is a team player, who has good behavior. They need a student, or they need a employee which is a good team player, which has a good health, which contribute to the institution. From where do I get that? I get it through the curriculum, and the curriculum syllabus is the component which enables me to bring the employability skills. Critical thinking. If I want to imbibe the critical thinking student, where do I do that? I do it in the class. How? By making our teaching learning, by giving assignments which focus on the intellectual competence of the students. Please see here, by bringing outcome-based education system, by developing our curriculum, which is addresses the learning of students at a higher level, which makes student a good team player, will enable the attribute which I mentioned in the beginning, which I gave you in the beginning. So we want us to acquire develop these skills and competently by implementing a curriculum designed for the program. Now, just have a look on this slide before I go later. Look at this slide. If I look at a human brain, left brain is a cognitive and right brain is effectively these skills like numeric skills, analytical skills, logical skills, reasoning, communication, they are already part of human brains. Nature has already given us those things. Now, right brain, it is like, for example, emotions, creativity, synthesis, creativity, then critical thinking, they are already part of human brain. If they are already part of human brain, these are the employability skills. Good communication, good at mathematics, good team player. This is what this industry wants. And nature has already given us in our, it's already built in the brain. The purpose of education is to enhance these, to develop these further, and so on. Remember, brain is a muscle. It changes and gets stronger the more we use it. Brain grows when we practice and learn new things. Brain can be trained to imbibe various abilities of higher level thinking, that is employability skill. The reason I'm giving this slide is there is already human nature has given us these capabilities. Now our purpose is to implement them, to enhance them, to develop them. There are students, let's say 10% or 20% or 30%, which can do these things by themselves. Why not 80% students should have these capabilities? Why not 90%? Which means the education will help us to enhance these attributes. And Bloom's taxonomy enable us to think on these lines, how we can do that. For example, emotions. Emotion is there in the brain. Affective domain says you can impart these things. Psychomotor domain says you can help this person for the presentation skills, for lab skills, and so on. So these are the skills which are needed employability skills. Now here is just an idea, just to quickly recall that in the cognitive domain, there are 6 levels, and upper 3 levels are what are known as higher order skill. Creativity skill, for example, decision-making skill, analytical skills, they are termed as higher order thinking skills. The lower apply, you must have been taught, just for continuity, apply their lower order thinking. See, the industry wants students, employability skills are higher order thinking skills. That means my student should be a good analytical thinker. My student should be a good decision maker. My student should be a creative. He should be a thinker and so on. So similarly, he should be a good team player. He should be good ethics. He should be caring. He should have he should believe in the value system. That's already a part of the affective domain. This is what the industry wants. A good team player. A good team player means he should have a skill of sharing things effectively. That is a part of the curriculum through Bloom taxonomy. So when I have to teach these skills, I have to do that. Similarly, managing equipment, managing testing equipment. These skills are already part of these slides I'm giving you as a quick recall that whatever nature has given us, brain is composed of. Bloom taxonomy has divided them neatly, which is built into the curriculum. That curriculum helps us to develop those skills. When those skills are developed, then we say the employability skills, which I mentioned in the beginning, are met to a great extent. Now, I repeat, some in the institution, we say placement is 30%. Why not? Why is the placement not up to that? There could be many reasons. There could be a professional, there could be a technical reasons, there could be human reason, there could be communication reason, soft skills. Now, I can fulfill the cognitive learning, I can teach them skills, but how will I teach them being a good team player? How will I make them aware of these things? So this is why we say, why are thinking skills important? The thinking skills are important because jobs require people who can comprehend, judge, and participate in generating new knowledge and processes. Modern democratic societies require citizens to assimilate information from multiple sources, determine its truth, and use it to make sound judgments. If I don't have the skill, if I always believe fake news, I don't have the skill to differentiate between what is truth, I will be failing. Industry wants a student, a employee should have these skills. So the challenge to develop the education program that enable all individuals, not just an elite, to become effective thinkers, because these competencies are now required of everyone for employment. So employability skills will be by the students if we help them to learn about thinking skills. And those thinking skills, now the issue is, should they be taught separately? What is critical thinking? What is creativity? What is decision making? No. Should thinking be taught in separate lessons or across the curriculum? Should I imbibe the employability skill as I call some industry people? They come and give lectures on motivation. They come and give lectures on how to about ethics. Should I do that, or I can do it in the class itself? Doing in the class itself means it should be a part of the curriculum. No. See, do you think if a company comes and give 2 hour lecture on motivation, students will get motivated? They will become aware of they will be aware of what is the motivation, but some of them may think of these things, but imbibing the habit of being motivated, making them long time thinkers can be done only in the classroom. Research suggests that one-off thinking lessons are less effective than teaching thinking and learning strategies that can be applied in subjects or as dialogic strategies across the curriculum in the class. So when I say imbibing higher order thinking skills, that means imbibing employability skills among the students in the class itself. So teachers are developing teaching for thinking approaches a new direction, integrating them into everyday teaching to create thinking classroom and developing whole school policies to create thinking schools. As we have knowledge societies, we say thinking departments, thinking faculties. How can I do that? Please appreciate these things. Employability skills we have mentioned what are they? Being a good human being, what are the attributes? If I have to become a say, motivator, if I have to become a as a caring individual, no lecture can teach that. This is what there are some natural learnings, there are certain learning of the education. Why do we send a student to the for teaching? So thinking skills, which are important for employers, for employability skills are critical thinking, creativity, evaluating, and analyzing. These please see creativity, evaluating, and analyzing, which are higher order thinking skill, they are part, they are they are what are emphasized in the Bloom taxonomy, and they are part of the curriculum. They are part of the syllabus. The lower skills. With us, the drawback at present has been we have been mostly emphasizing the lower three learning of the student, remembering, understanding, and applying, indicating that if I want my student to be a problem solver, he can solve simple problems, but he may not be able to solve complex problems. How do I train him? To train him to solve complex problems, we need to develop those skills which will enable the student to venture into unknown area. That's what industry wants. So skill is the ability and aptitude to use one knowledge to do something new and something different. What are employability skills? From where do they come? What is the origin of them? How can I imbibe them in the classroom? I can do it in the classroom if we have made these part of the higher thinking skill. If I make them part of my curriculum. And here the major part is the syllabus. Psychometric domains, games वगैरह सब में आता है, but the major part, classroom teaching, is mainly focusing on cognitive skills. Cognitive skills mean through syllabus. Syllabus means those things which will enable the student to imbibe innovative thinking. So please see here that thinking skills or the employability skills is what is need is done in the class. So higher order thinking skills, awareness and observation of ideas and information, comprehension of ideas and information, analysis, interpretation, reflection, evaluation, inference, decision making, outcome, understanding outcome, explaining. So please see here, in order to have employability skill, student must be adept in developing in imbibing higher order thinking skills. In fact, higher order thinking skill enable us are the employability skills. Now, higher order thinking skills are required to understand and solve complex problems. Now, please see how many of us appreciate in the modern time what are complex problems. What are complex problems? Complex problems, now just give you an idea. Complex problems, solving, refer to finding a right solution to real life problems. Industry wants real life, has real life problems. The student should have problem solving skill. When will they have these things? Most of the teachers, please appreciate, don't understand the nature of the complex problems. In the complex problems are real life problems, they have no solution, perfect solution. They have complex, multidisciplinary, complexity issues. You need depth of knowledge. They are multidisciplinary. They involve those issues which you might not have seen earlier, involve diverse groups of stakeholders. These are the kind of problems which industry has. When they have these problems, then they want students to be trained in these things. Now, how can I train these students in these things? Now, please see here, by imbibing higher order thinking skills. Now, higher order thinking skill and non-algorithm. That is, the path of action is not fully specified. We don't know what is the how to solve it. I have multiple solutions, involve judgment and interpretation, involve application of multiple criteria, involve uncertainty, self-thinking and regulation, and so on. So when I'm imbibing higher order thinking skill, I'm imbibing employability skill, that these is what industry wants. I've just given you a quick view of what it will involve. Now, critical thinking. What is critical thinking? It's a mental process, being able to conceptualize, interpret, apply, analyze, evaluate, and synthesize. Now, critical thinking is ability and aptitude to carry out the above activities well and efficiently in a logical and using facts and information. Please let me know which problem doesn't need these attributes. Take any real life problem, even in the class, if you forget about the textbook problems, you take a real life problem, you will find that these becomes important features of student thinking. And that's what industry wants. Similarly, critical thinking is, for example, is able to analyze arguments and claims and evidence. That means the person should be able to understand what the other person is saying, what are the claims, recognize the important relationship between various things which is saying, interpret and explain evidence, judge and evaluate validity and reliability of the evidence, make inferences, make decisions, solve problem or conceptualize. Please see here. How many of our teachers understand these things? How many of our students understand these things? That's the goal. That's what NEP says. You reorient your education system where we imbibe critical thinking skills in the student by enabling them to understand what it is all about. That's what industry wants. That's what employability skill is. Each of these steps is further exposed and investigated in the classroom by using Socrates' questioning method. That means we need to develop the habit in the students wherein they question ऐसा क्यों हुआ, इससे क्या reasons हैं. See, basically we are trying to develop the analytical abilities of the brain. मैंने पहले भी कहा था creativity, thinking, they are part of the brain. We want to enhance them. How can I do that? See, in the educational system, we can do it by educating them what critical thinking is, by analyzing it, how we can learn about these things, by giving those kind of assignments, by giving those kind of assessments, and then looking at the way students gain. That's what employability would imply. Creative thinking. Now, what is see? No, good industry would want a employee which is not able to think differently. अगर देखो मुझे मालूम है कि क्या हो रहा है. Now we are trying to see how to imbibe employability skills among the students. These are employability skills because what will get me a job if I'm creative, if I am a critical thinker. Creative thinking is the process and act of making something new, different, which is of value. Now please here, see industry wants it. Look at IT industry, look at manufacturing industry, and so on. So creative thinking is the ability and aptitude design, think, create something new, maybe a concept, solution, a method, a work of art, which is of value using facts and information. That means we are making the student to use what he has learned to create something new. Remember, this is what Bloom taxonomy 6 levels. So our goal is to develop these thinking skill, which is again employability skill. So creative thinking skill attributes are understanding, comprehension, analytical, problem solving, interpretation, communication, open-mindedness, creative involved thinking of things no one else has considered before. Now please see here, it's interesting. These skills can be developed in the classroom itself. These can be imbibed in the students in the classroom itself, through projects, through lab, through assignments. अब देखिए, आप कहते हैं हम करते तो हैं सारा. Yes, you do. Now the issue is, are these students, have you tested, assessed whether student learned all these or not? हमने तो अक्सर मैथमेटिक्स या जो टेक्निकल चीज़ें पढ़ा दी, हमने कभी ये जज नहीं किया तो उसका skill बना है कि नहीं बना है. Please see this thing. When we don't judge the skill, which indicates we are not sure what are they thinking. So why foster creativity among students in the class? Creativity allows students to express themselves. Creativity leads to more engaged and confident learners. Creativity helps students think outside the square and problem solving. Creativity helps students to have a deeper understanding of subject matter. Creativity gives students a sense of pride and accomplishment in their work. Creativity reduces stress and anxiety in students. Now please here, the employer want these things. He doesn't want his employee who is always under stress. He doesn't know how to handle the difficult situations. He doesn't want a person who cannot handle a situation which is beneficial to the industry. So please see here, creativity is important because it enables them. Now, how does creativity help prepare students for the real world? Because they are able to solve complex problems. They can think critically. They have memory to analyze things. They have an entrepreneurial mindset. They can take risk. They are autonomous and more confidence. That's what the employability skills are. So creativity is a learned skill, mind you. There are many studies that have shown that creativity can be learned as a skill. Creativity is a skill. It's an employability skill. In fact, it will be interesting for you to know about this simple fact. See, way back, about 50, 60 years back, psychologists tested these creativity aspects. In the George Land in way back in 1968, it retested the same children at 10% year. He found that when students are 5 years old, let us say their creativity is 98%. Then when they are 10 years old, there it comes down to 30%. When it is 15 years old, it comes down to 12%. When it is adults, that's a 20, 25, 23 साल का या now average, it's 2%. What does it indicate? That means creativity is a skill which can be learned. If we don't learn it, then whatever creativity we have, but nature has given us, it is lost because non-creative behavior, everyone, it's human nature, learn very fast. So students who have a mindset of thinking creatively, they get easily employed. They get high, quick raise in life. That's what employability skill would imply. So please see here, employability creativity skill is a skill which can be learned in the class. In many times people tell me, सर ये तो स्कूल में सीखना चाहिए था. नहीं, ये लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग है. Creativity, developing creativity in a human being, making his critical assessments is a lifelong learning. We always learn. Only then we can maintain the level of creativity we want. The subject matter may go on changing, but the behavior and the mindset, it remains creative. So please teach in the class how to become creative. And it's not difficult. So when I say complex problems, then it means problems which are real life problems. How many have you given students real life problems? I will not blame anybody. No. रियल लाइफ प्रॉब्लम वुड मीन जिसका कोई सोल्यूशन नजर नहीं आ रहा है, तो उनको वर्क करना पड़ता है, ढूंढना पड़ता है अपने मे बी ऑन द इंटरनेट, मे बी डिस्कशंस एंड सो ऑन. So the process of complex problem solve, identify the problem identify करो, पहले अंडरस्टैंड करो. अब जिसका पता ही नहीं अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए क्या करना है, फिर उसके क्या क्या सोल्यूशन अल्टरनेटिव हो सकते हैं, फिर बेस्ट अल्टरनेटिव क्या हो सकता है, कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करना है, कैसे नहीं. अब प्लीज अप्लाई योर माइंड, दिस ऑल ए थिंकिंग प्रोसेस. And thinking process will enable you to learn complex solving process. And complex problem, as I mentioned in the earlier beginning, is an attribute which employers want. It's a very important employability skills. Now, see, when these employability, they go for employability, for employing graduates, they put up these questions. Now, no lecture from the outside can make students problem solving efficient. This he can learn either in the lab, he can learn in the projects, he can learn in the classroom, and so on. पहली बात यह है कि student should understand the process of problem solving. What is problem solving? What is the process of problem solving? Both teacher and this one. Now, creative thinking. Now, problem solving skills students should develop in and out of the class. They be able to analyze, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, critical thinking. That's what they will be able to learn when problem skills are built into the student in and out of the class. आप करेंगे कैसे? Give them the real life problems. Make them think, make them fail, make them work together, make them help each other. That's how they will be able to learn these, and that's what is required. So, student perceptions, now the issue is, student perceive about complex problem solving, critical thinking. What is the present situation? Present situation is, students also say about complex problem solving, they do not believe they are currently being taught critical thinking or are developing analytical skills because the traditional method, traditional teaching techniques does not focus on these things. Our analytical skills cannot be judged by the examination. Our assessments are very traditional. Now, when assessment, remember, student learn more when he knows the assessment is the relevant assessment. What does the relevant assessment mean? Suppose you want to assess the critical thinking of the student. Student की ये thinking skill बड़े हैं या कम हुए हैं, कैसे measure करेंगे? Examination won't help you. It's again a proper method. And mainly there is the rubric method, which enable these things. So the student should be aware of rubrics, teacher should be aware of the rubric, and should be able to measure these things. But these are not being done. So students also know that no one is teaching us these things. So the employability obviously will get affected. The student question the value of lecture and academic processes in developing analytical skills, common problem skills, and so on. So please see here, students also know that the employability skills are not being taught properly, mainly in the classroom. मुझे मालूम है many times people invite industry to give the lectures on these things. They come and give the lectures. Those lectures are certainly useful to the extent of being aware of these things. Though because learning is a lifelong process. If you are implementing these employability skills, if you are implementing these higher learning skills, it should be a continuous process in the classroom, through the assignment, through the teaching, through the assessment, and so on. And that can be done only when teachers are familiar with this mode, when the faculty is familiar with this mode, and the relevant infrastructure is available for this mode. Any question here, please?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I want to know new standards of industry is coming these days. So our
कोई बात नहीं, प्रेम, ये अभी तक people are not familiar with these techniques. If you ask anybody, what are the employability skills? Ask any teacher, and then see what is the response. Does he talk about creative behavior of the students? Does he talk about the problem solving skill of the students? Does he talk about the emotional behavior of the students? Does he talk about these things? No. Because we have been trained, yourself and myself, all of us, that teaching them in the class, imparting them knowledge is good enough. Passing examination with 90% is good enough. Good, I agree with you. It's the fault of no one. But kindly see that industry says no. 100% को मैं वाला क्या फायदा है अगर वो प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व नहीं कर सकता है तो अगर मैंने ही इंडस्ट्री कहते अगर मैंने प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करके देनी है तो मैं सैलरी थोड़ी दे रहा हूँ. द स्टूडेंट शुड कम फॉरवर्ड, द स्टूडेंट शुड कम फॉरवर्ड and suggest solutions. How will he suggest solutions? Only when he has enough confidence and enough learning, enough training. Now, this training, when he's spending 3 years or 4 years or 5 years in the university or in the college, why should he not be trained on these lines? We can train them only in these lines. All I will need is reorient ourselves, reorient our delivery of lectures, reorient our assessment methods, reorient our saying कि मैं जो पढ़ा रहा हूँ वही ठीक है. Student is a partner in the learning process. Make the student autonomous. Make the student self-confidence. Because student teacher बहुत believe करता है. अभी तक तो student हाथ जोड़ता है, अब भी हाथ जोड़ेगा, लेकिन student को ये बताना है कि तुम्हें autonomous होना है. You have to have develop a mindset of, जैसे कहते हैं तालाब में कूदना है. अब ये कहीं मुझे तैरना नहीं आता, मैं कूदूं. अब नहीं तैरना आता है तो तुम ये सीख लो. अब सिखाने के लिए हर बार क्लास में जाना नहीं है, हर बार तुम्हें पढ़ाएगा नहीं. यू शुड नो द प्रोसेस ऑफ ऑल द प्रोसेसेस. सो इन ऑर्डर टू एबल टू मीट द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री, we need to equip the student with the processes, with the techniques, with the learnings of these, imbibing these relevant skills. Any doubt, please don't hesitate. अगर मेरे
Hello, sir. Sir, good morning. Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, you have to mention a slide of survey that please, if it is possible, kindly
देखो
show
नहीं
that.
दिनेश, वो स्लाइड की बात करेंगे. पहले मेरे ये बताओ जो हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, इज इट यू एग्री विद दिस और नॉट? पहले ये बताओ.
सर मेरा स्लाइड्स का क्वेश्चन बस वही था कि if we receive a class, the 15 years old student having 30% critical thinking, but if we receive as a university, the student have 2% critical thinking skill. So how we can go for the 2 to 98? That is a big task for us.
98 मत जाओ यार. देखो ऐसा है, दिस इज इंक्रीमेंटल इम्प्रूवमेंट, लेकिन वो प्रोसेस तो होनी चाहिए ना. देखो आप काइंडली लुक एट द प्रोसेस. द प्रोसेस टू मेक ए स्टूडेंट क्रिएटिव क्या है ये देखिए. द प्रोसेस टू मेक द स्टूडेंट, ये 100% नहीं बनता है ना. आप बनते ना मैं बनता हूँ. 100% कोई क्रिएटिव नहीं, क्रिटिकल थिंकर नहीं बनता है. लेकिन ये प्रोसेस जो है, मान लीजिए आप तो बन गए 60%, मैं बना 40%, आप फिर 65 हुए, मैं फिर 38 हो गया. लेकिन मेरे को मालूम तो है ना कि क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, क्रिएटिविटी की प्रोसेस क्या है, मेथड क्या है.
यस सर.
जब मेथड मालूम होता है तब आप वो एफर्ट करते हैं. जब मेथड ही नहीं मालूम तो मैं, अब मुझे क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग कहते रहो, लेकिन होती क्या है. जब तक मेरे को ये मालूम नहीं होगा मैं क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग स्किल इम्बाइब करने की एफर्ट ही कैसे करूंगा. वुड यू एग्री और नॉट?
यस सर. यस सर.
नहीं, डोंट से यस, यू हैव टू बी एग्री.
एग्री सर.
यू है. अच्छा, अभी मैं क्लास में कर सकता हूँ. लर्निंग फ्रॉम एंटरप्रेन्योरियल माइंडसेट है ये. मैं क्लास अभी, क्योंकि ये लेक्चर उस कनेक्शन में है नहीं तो मैं आपको वो भी बताता हूँ. देखिए, एंटरप्रेन्योरियल माइंडसेट बनाना है. वन ऑफ द क्वालिटी द एंटरप्रेन्योरियल माइंडसेट इज ही शुड लर्न फ्रॉम फेल्योर. ही शुड बी एबल टू मैनेज फेल्योर. क्या आप जानते हैं ये लैब में सीख सकता है? यस, ही कैन लर्न दिस. अभी उसका माइंडसेट बना रहे हैं. हम किसी को इंजीनियर नहीं बनाते हैं 4 साल या 5 साल पढ़ा के. हम उसका माइंडसेट रेडी करते हैं कि आप ये बन सकते हो. आपने उनको वो टेक्निक्स, वो नॉलेज, वो सारा दे दिया. जब वो रियल लाइफ में गया तो वो जो फिर वो इंजीनियर बनता है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. लर्निंग इज ए वेरी लर्निंग प्रोसेस इज ए वेरी स्लो प्रोसेस. अगर मेरी क्लास में अभी लेट अस से 20% स्टूडेंट ऐसे हैं विच आर गुड, तो अच्छा क्रिएटिविटी, किसी में क्रिएटिविटी अच्छी है, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग अच्छी है, कोई पॉजिटिव माइंडसेट का 20 है, ठीक है, तो मैं 20 क्यों, व्हाई नॉट 80%? आप पूछो ये करने के लिए क्या करना है मेरे को, ये आपको जो मैंने डिस्कस किया वो लर्निंग आपके टीचिंग को रीओरिएंट करना है। जो आपके असाइनमेंट्स होंगी उसमें ये एम्बेडेड होगा। एक ऐसी डिफिकल्ट प्रॉब्लम है, सर मैं तो मर गया, बेटे तूने मरना है, ये करके ला, ये तू सीखेगी इससे। जब तुमको ये पता कर लगेगा ये करने से मेरा ये इंप्रूव होगा, वो दौड़ के करके लाएगा। अब ये चीज, ये दिस एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल। तो ये एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल जो इम्बाइब करना है वो हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, क्योंकि हमारे पास 3 साल 4 साल या 5 साल स्टूडेंट है, एंड इट इज बिल्ट इनटू द करिकुलम, इट इज बिल्ट इनटू द सिलेबस। अब जो हमारी जो हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी, ये सारी चीजें वहां है ना। जब ये सारी चीजें हैं तो एम्प्लॉयर क्या चाहता है? अभी हमने फैक्ट्री डोमेन अगर आपको डिस्कस करता मैं या साइकोमोटर, तो एम्प्लॉयर क्या चाहता है कि मेरा अगर मेरा इक्विपमेंट खराब हो गई है, बजाय इसके कि मैं उसको बुलाऊं, अगर मेरा एम्प्लॉय कर दे तो कितनी बढ़िया चीज है। एम्प्लॉय तब करेगा जब आपने उसका माइंडसेट वैसे ट्रेन किया है, नहीं तो वो नहीं करेगा। वो कहे सॉरी मैं क्या करूं। इट इज लाइक क्रिएटिंग द माइंडसेट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट who is willing to solve the problem, and he has learned the technique of solving problems. That's your creativity. In my problem solving, that is your creativity. That's what the employer wants. How many of you differ with this? Difference बहुत अच्छी चीज है। It will motivate me to reorient my lecture. It will motivate me to include those topics which make the participants more and more absorbed in this kind of teaching. ये जो टीचिंग में आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ ये नई चीज नहीं है, हमें रीओरिएंट करना है। हमें प्रॉब्लम ये नहीं टेक्स्ट बुक प्रॉब्लम देते रहना है, हमें नई नई प्रॉब्लम खुद करनी है। अब इश्यू होता है टीचर के पास टाइम कम होता है। टीचर के पास कितने टीचर हैं जो करना चाहते हैं? अगर स्टूडेंट का क्रिएटिव होना है तो टीचर को भी तो होना पड़ेगा ना, थोड़ा बहुत तो होना पड़ेगा। लेकिन दैट मीन यू शुड फैमिलियर विद द प्रोसेस, यू शुड बी फैमिलियर विद द सिचुएशंस एंड सो ऑन। इसलिए उनको आप सिखाइए। Faculty hardly have any knowledge about what are higher order thinking skills. Several studies suggest that even teachers also lack knowledge about higher order learning skills. Now the issue is how to foster and integrate higher order thinking skill into regular student education, which can be taught in classroom. अब देखिए ये इशू आप नोट करिए। How to foster and integrate higher order thinking skills into regular student education, which can be taught in the classroom to enhance their employability skills and chances. This is gained through graduate attributes and student learning outcomes. आप रिकॉल करो पिछले सेशन में मैंने आपसे शेयर किया था what industry wants, what employability skills are. I encapsulate them as graduate attributes. ये मैंने आप डिस्कस कर लिया है। अब देखो ये वाली जो है दिस स्लाइड ऑन द लेफ्ट, these are the employability skills. This is what the industry wants. These are employability skills. अब मैंने इसे क्लासरूम में कैसे लाना है ये मैं डिस्कस किया था। क्विकली आई विल गो थ्रू टू रिपीट टू जस्ट टू कंप्लीट इट। आई एक्सप्रेस द माय ग्रेजुएट एट्रीब्यूट्स, that is good knowledge, innovation, design and ethic, blah blah blah, lifelong learning. लाइफलॉन्ग लर्निंग उसने एक ही जॉब में थोड़ी रहना है, उसने एक स्किल थोड़ा सीखना है। द स्किल, द इंटेलिजेंस, द टेक्नोलॉजी इज चेंजिंग, द नॉलेज इज चेंजिंग, सो वी एक्सप्रेस द व्हाट द एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल्स आर एज ग्रेजुएट एट्रीब्यूट्स। ये मैंने शेयर किया था आपसे। देन हु डिसाइड ग्रेजुएट एट्रीब्यूट? इट इज यू, फैकल्टी एंड द इंस्टीट्यूशन। They decide what kind of graduate you want, what kind of employability skills you want your students to be imbibed. Now, यहाँ पर आप है the graduate design to student learning outcomes. उसने क्या लर्न करना है, क्या नॉलेज देना है, कैसे स्किल देने हैं, क्या एटीट्यूड देना है। अब देखो आपको एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल्स जनरेट करने हैं, देने स्टूडेंट, तो आप देखिए कौन सी थिंकिंग स्किल्स ज़्यादा जरूरी है। industry, what kind of knowledge they want, what kind of soft skill they want. This is what we have to know at these things. So they are embedded into the graduate attribute. Graduate attributes express their learning outcomes and so on. So imbibing and enhancing higher order thinking skills and employability skills student, teach students about higher order thinking skill, what are their attributes, what it entails, its benefits as well as strategies. Learners become aware of and understand their own strength and challenges with regard to higher order thinking skills, which are nothing but your employability skills. Higher order thinking can be fostered in the classroom teaching itself by reorienting our instructional techniques. Now, present scenario क्या है? Conducted in many countries, ये हमारा ही नहीं है, ये वर्ल्ड वाइज है, क्योंकि सिनेरियो इतना जल्दी चेंज हो गया है, वर्ल्ड वाइज है. Studies indicate that future knowledge about higher order thinking is very limited. Their ability to improve students' higher order thinking is practically is question mark. They don't give problems which involve higher order thinking skills. They don't measure higher order thinking skills, and is very low. This gap can be filled. This gap needs to be filled in order to enhance the employability skills, employability attributes, which are through experiential learning and through how the new emergent environment can be managed. Now, by changing and transforming our attitude and thinking about the purpose of education, curriculum, education environment, adopting current technology, instructional method, and so on. तो ये सब चीजें हमें एज ए फैकल्टी मेंबर, हमें एज ए टीचर, वी विल डू ऑल these things. By educating and training our students in gaining not only knowledge but also acquiring life skills and managerial life, real life problems and challenges by experiential learning. Experiential learning means through project-based learning and so on. Which means rather than having purely cognitive emphasis, we need to give emphasis on affective domain. We need to give emphasis on psychomotor domain. How can I do that? This is a different topic. If we get time, we'll see that. So fostering employability skills by experiential and project-based learning. ये quickly मैं करूँगा, तो आप काफी शायद familiar भी होंगे. अगर नहीं होंगे, please do ask that. Fostering employability skills by experiential project. Now you know this saying very well. I hear, I forget. I see and I remember. You know all these things. Tell me and forget. It's a very old saying, which means our teaching learning process has to be reoriented, wherein solution of complex problems, experiential problems, real life problems are complex. Solving complex problems and project-based learning is what is to be emphasized. NEP also emphasizes these things. So what is experiential learning? Learning is the process of acquiring new, modifying existing or enhancing knowledge, behavior, skills, values, attitude. ये किसी किताब में नहीं दिया होगा. जो एक्सपीरियंस से लर्निंग होती है. पहले लर्निंग होती क्या है? What is learning? लर्निंग होती है नॉलेज, लर्निंग होती है स्किल, लर्निंग होती है बिहेवियर, लर्निंग होती है एटीट्यूड. What is learning? लर्निंग ये नहीं है कि आपने सिर्फ नॉलेज ही लर्न कर लिया. ये भी एक लर्निंग है. सो लर्निंग जो हम रियल लाइफ में गेन करें, जो किताबों में नहीं दी होती है, लेकिन क्लासरूम में हम इसको making it a part, we can imbibe these in the students. Skill learning is learning through action. You are all familiar with this. Learning by doing, learning through experience, and learning through discovery and exploration. लेकिन ये हम लोग करते नहीं हैं क्योंकि हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम अभी बिल्ट इन नहीं है प्रॉपर्ली. कुछ इंस्टीट्यूशन ने शुरू किया है, बट दिस इज हाउ आई कैन इम्बाइब ऑल दोस थिंग्स. क्यों? एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग कंटेन द फॉलोइंग एलिमेंट: रिफ्लेक्शन, क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस, सिंथेसिस. स्टूडेंट को ये सब चीजें करनी पड़ेंगी. अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर स्टूडेंट टेक इनिशिएटिव, मेक डिसीजन एंड बी अकाउंटेबल फॉर स्टूडेंट. अभी जो आपके माइंड में घूम रहा है, सर स्टूडेंट तो जो कराते हैं वो भी नहीं करता है, बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं आप, ये है, लेकिन हमें रीओरिएंट करना है. हमें स्टूडेंट को इस ट्रैक पे लाना है. अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ स्टूडेंट एंगेज इंटेलेक्चुअली, creatively, emotionally, socially, or physically. Learning experience that include possible learn from natural consequences, mistakes, and success. That's what experiential learning is. That's what we have to incorporate in our teaching learning process. कैसे करना है? ये फैकल्टी, ये उसी पर टॉपिक, ये उस सिलेबस, ये उस कोर्स पे डिपेंड करेगा. But that's how we have to do all these things. So experiential learning में हम लोग बहुत कुछ सीखते हैं. मैं ये क्विकली गो थ्रू दिस थिंग. एक्सपीरियंस लर्निंग की एग्जांपल्स क्या क्या हैं? प्रोसेस बेस्ड लर्निंग, कुछ इंस्टीट्यूशन ने ये शुरू कर दिया है. केस बेस्ड लर्निंग बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूशन कर भी रहे हैं. इंक्वायरी बेस्ड लर्निंग, प्रॉब्लम बेस्ड लर्निंग एंड सो ऑन. बट मैं आपसे ये जो चीज़ इसमें जानने वाली है, व्हाट इज लर्निंग. एग्जाम्पल प्रोजेक्ट, वी आर डूइंग प्रोजेक्ट्स, प्रोजेक्ट करते हैं, वी डू प्रोजेक्ट्स. हम लोग वेरीफाई करना है, कर देते हैं. फोकस ऑलवेज ऑन द नॉलेज. ये थ्योरी वेरीफाई कर दी. भाई मेरे, इसके साथ हमें उसका स्किल भी देखना है, हमें उसकी एटीट्यूड भी देखनी है, हमें उसका बिहेवियर भी देखना है, हमें उसकी थिंकिंग स्किल्स का भी देखना है. ये हम लोग नहीं देखते हैं. क्यों नहीं देखते हैं? क्योंकि हमें अभी ये हमारे सिस्टम में ये बिल्ट इन नहीं है. अच्छा, फिर इसको करेंगे कैसे? हाउ शैल असेस इट? to be assessed through there are tangible skills, there will be intangible skills. Intangible skills can be assessed through techniques like rubrics. Tangible skills you are assessing through examination. But no one assesses the intangible learning like thinking skills and so on. So project-based learning is another example. Please do ask questions.
NEP फ्रेमवर्क में सर जो इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग है उसका कितना वेटेज है और कितनी हेल्प कर सकती है स्टूडेंट?
नहीं, देखो प्रेम, बात सिंपल है. NEP कहती है ये आपको करना पड़ेगा. ये थिंकिंग स्किल्स आपको स्टूडेंट में, आपको एजुकेशन प्रोसेस को रीओरिएंट करके ये स्किल डालने पड़ेंगे आपको. NEP ने ये मैंडेट दे दिया. ठीक है, ये मैंडेट हमने शुरू में देखा, जैसे मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी है, फ्लेक्सिबल है, हायर थिंकिंग स्किल्स है. शुरू में देखा हमने. वो आप कैसे करेंगे? वो आप करने के लिए, और दे आर द एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल्स एज आई मेंशन लिंक्स इन द बिगिनिंग. जब वो NEP ने हमें मैंडेट दे दिया, ये आपको करना है. हमें कैसे करना है वो हम शेयर कर रहे थे. थ्रू करिकुलम डिजाइन करना है, इम्प्लीमेंट करना है, रीओरिएंट करना है. और उसी चीज में अगर हम NEP की बात, आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन सिस्टम को प्रॉपरली इफेक्टिवली इम्प्लीमेंट कर लें, ये सीधी सारी चीजें उसमें बिल्ट इन है. हायर थिंकिंग स्किल की बात करते हैं, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल्स है, क्रिएटिविटी है ना, या क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग है. दे आर बिल्ट इनटू इट. दिस इज व्हाट द इंडस्ट्री वांट्स. आप चाहते हैं एथिक्स है, गुड टीम प्लेयर है, दे आर बिल्ट इनटू इट. So these are, if this is what I'm saying. हम लोग after whether affective domain was discussed in some other session. Affective domain में आप जो इमोशन के बारे में लर्न करते हैं, एथिक्स के बारे में लर्न करते हैं, और जो एटीट्यूड के बारे में लर्न करते हैं, टीम प्लेयर के बारे में लर्न करते हैं, is a part of the syllabus prepared on the lines of outcome based on taxonomy. And this is what the industry wants. Industry wants a person to be ethical. ठीक है ना? तो एथिकल बिहेवियर अगर इम्बाइब करना है, देखिए हर एक में एथिक्स होती है, लेकिन एथिक्स इतनी हो कि मैं एथिक्स के बिना काम ना करूं, वो एथिक्स माइंडसेट हो जाता है. मैं हमेशा सच बोलूं, कभी कभी झूठ भी बोल लूं, ये एक हैबिट की बात होती है. एजुकेशन में हम क्या करते हैं? वी प्रिपेयर द माइंडसेट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट, वी प्रिपेयर द इंटेलेक्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट टू बी ए गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग. वो बनता है कि नहीं बनता है, वो बात की आती है. लेकिन all the employability skills are built into the outcome-based education system. Through the cognitive domain, we have been doing it. We have been ending in the affective domain implementation and psychomotor domain implementation. ये हर एक के लिए एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, लेकिन ये अब हमें NEP से इस पर आपको फोकस करना है, because this is what gives the student success in life.
Thank you so much, sir.
नहीं, मैं देखो ये थोड़ा सा लेक्चर आप सी, नॉर्मली लोग बोलते हैं प्राइवेट स्किल होते क्या है. मैं प्राइवेट स्किल होते क्या, फिर करेंगे कैसे? आप क्लासरूम में कैसे प्राइवेट स्किल्स हम लोग स्टूडेंट में इम्बाइब करेंगे? क्या होते हैं सभी कहते हैं, एंड इट इज गुड कहने में। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ क्लास में कैसे करोगे, लैब में कैसे करोगे? मैं कह लैब जब देता हूँ मैं लैब में कर सकता हूँ, जब मैं असाइनमेंट देता हूँ मैं स्टूडेंट को असाइनमेंट में ये ट्रेन कर सकता हूँ। इशू आएगा असेसमेंट। अगर मुझे स्टूडेंट्स की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल को असेस करना है तो मुझे मालूम होना चाहिए प्रॉब्लम स्किल सॉल्विंग स्किल के एट्रीब्यूट्स क्या होते हैं, वो एट्रीब्यूट्स की फीचर्स क्या होते हैं, उस एट्रीब्यूट्स को हम लोग असेस कैसे करेंगे, ये चीज़ें नहीं सिखाई जाती हैं। अगर लेकिन ये क्लास में होनी चाहिए, दिस व्हाट एनईपी सेज। जब हम मल्टी की बात करते हैं ना, जब हम कहते हैं
एक्सक्यूज मी
स्टूडेंट पूछते हैं तो असेस कैसे करोगे, विदाउट एग्जामिनेशन असेसमेंट नहीं होगी सारी। एग्जामिनेशन सिर्फ कॉग्निटिव पर एम्फेसिस करता है। हाँ यस प्लीज। हाँ जी पूछिए।
सर, सर आई वुड लाइक टू जस्ट शेयर रादर देन क्वेश्चन। मैं सर कुछ बात शेयर करना चाहूँगा सर। सर nowadays you are means these initiatives like this short term course are very good in one perspective कि sir actually most of the faculty members and even students also they are not aware about these skills and these parts. तो अगर सर कोई हम लोग जैसा कोई सीख भी जाता है एंड दे स्टार्ट इम्प्लीमेंटिंग इट, तो इट हैज बीन सीन जस्ट लाइक एक्टिविटी बेस्ड लर्निंग हम लोग कराए या कुछ कराते हैं तो बच्चे को भी लगता है कि जस्ट टीचर इस बीच में अगर आपने कुछ एक्टिविटी बेस्ड लर्निंग करा दी या कुछ ऐसा रोल प्ले या कुछ करा दिया तो लगता है कि टाइम पास कर रहे हैं एंड वो सिलेबस तो पढ़ा नहीं रहे हैं उसको। वैसे तो क्लासरूम में जैसे ट्रेनिंग थी तो वो जो हमारा क्लासिकल तरीका बना हुआ है चाक एंड बोर्ड वाला, ऑल्दो वी आर नॉट रिप्लेसिंग इट, स्टिल अगर हम इसमें कुछ कंपोनेंट भी इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं तो देयर आर मीन्स वहाँ पे ऐसा व्यू रहता है कि लोगों को लगता है इट इज नॉट डूइंग बीइंग डन प्रॉपरली, सिलेबस कवर नहीं किया जा रहा रादर देन अगर आप एक्सपीरियंस बेस से कराने लगे तो कि टीचर काम नहीं करना चाह रहा है, मेहनत नहीं करना चाह रहा है।
पुष्कर जी थैंक यू, आपने मेरे दिल की बात कही। मैं बताता हूँ अब कैसे। जब मैं कहता हूँ ना इफेक्टिव इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ओबीई, अब देखिए जब ओबीई इम्प्लीमेंट की बात आती है तो उसमें मैनेजमेंट इन्वॉल्व है, उसमें फैकल्टी इन्वॉल्व है, उसमें स्टूडेंट्स इन्वॉल्व हैं, एवरी स्टेक होल्डर इन्वॉल्व। जो भी डिसीजन अगर एक्टिविटी बेस्ड करनी है या प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग करनी है तो मैनेजमेंट को पता है ये करनी है, ऐसे ऐसे नहीं होती। इसीलिए आप देखो मैं अभी मेरे मौके नहीं मिला, विजन क्यों बनाते हैं, ये इसलिए बनाते हैं कि मैनेजमेंट बिकम द पार्ट ऑफ द होल थिंग। आउटकम बेस्ड सिस्टम है ये, बहुत बढ़िया है, इसमें सारे स्टेक होल्डर इन्वॉल्व हैं। अगर पीबीएल को अगर इम्प्लीमेंट करना है या एक्सपीरियंस बेस्ड लर्निंग को इम्प्लीमेंट करना है तो एवरीवन इज अवेयर ऑफ दिस। अभी अभी आप जो बात कर रहे हैं हमारा करंटली हमें सिलेबस खत्म करना है, इम्तिहान लेना है, ये होता है ना। लेकिन अभी एवरीवन अंडरस्टैंड्स कि इस थिंकिंग स्किल लर्न करने के लिए इस तरह की ट्रेनिंग चाहिए तो वो चीज़ें फिर ठीक हो जाएंगी। अभी जो हमारे यहाँ डेफिशिएंसी है वो हम लोग सिलेबस ओरिएंटेड है, उससे हम लोग डिविएट नहीं कर सकते। वो भी ठीक है, तो 40-30 घंटे में खत्म करना ही करना, नहीं इम्तिहान नहीं होगा, हम सब ठीक कह रहे हैं, लेकिन ये हमको रीओरिएंट करना, फ्लेक्सिबल बनाना। इसीलिए एनईपी से फ्लेक्सिबल करो।
यस सर। सर मोस्टली इसमें भी सर जैसे आपने कहा मुझे ये भी लगता है कि सर जिस तरीके से ओरिएंटेशन फैकल्टी मेंबर्स का हो रहा है इसी तरीके से मैनेजमेंट एंड जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनका भी ओरिएंटेशंस होने चाहिए। क्योंकि क्या है कि दे टेक इट लाइक स्टूडेंट्स तो बिल्कुल अदर लेवल पे है एंड मैनेजमेंट टेक्स दिस एक्टिविटी ऑफ एनबीए लाइक नंबर गेम, how to achieve certain numbers and not miss only in letter, not in spirit. So sir orientations this kind of they even must be taken for students as well as other stakeholders, I must say, rather than
बिल्कुल ठीक है
only
पुष्कर
faculty.
जी, आपने बिल्कुल मेरे दिल की बात कही। लेकिन अभी ये इसलिए नहीं हो पा रहा है क्योंकि अभी हमारे ओबी प्रॉपरली इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हुई, ठीक है ना। अब आप देखो
Yes, sir.
इंडस्ट्री कहती है कि मेरे को तो अच्छा टीम प्लेयर चाहिए, ठीक है ना। अब जब टीम प्लेयर, आप हैबिट कैसे इम्बाइब करोगे? इसे नेचर ने कुछ दिया मेरे को, 30% दिया। जब मैं अभी मैं सिर्फ दोस्त की हेल्प करता हूँ, ये लेट अस से हेल्पिंग एटीट्यूड, दोस्त की हेल्प करता हूँ। अगर हेल्प करना है तो मुश्किल की वाले की भी हेल्प करो। ये माइंडसेट बनाना है। ये
Yes, sir.
माइंडसेट कब बनेगा? जब हम उसको वैसे उस तरह से ट्रेन करेंगे।
Yes.
देखो यहाँ इशू मैं पता, इसे लो स्लो प्रोसेस। कुछ नेचर ने, मैंने आपको स्लाइड दिखाई तो नेचर ने हमको दिया हुआ है, ये
Yes, sir.
चीज हमको मिली हुई है। एजुकेशन का पर्पज है उनको इनहेंस करना, उसको फर्दर डेवलप करना, और लर्नर को इस काबिल बनाना कि जब जरूरत हो उसको उस तरह से बिहेव करे, उस तरह से वो जिसको प्यार करना है, जिसके रिस्पेक्ट करनी है। अब देखो टीचर, स्टूडेंट टीचर कितनी कम रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं। आज से 20 साल पहले स्टूडेंट टीचर को मतलब करते थे। अब ये जो सिनेरियो क्रिएट हो रहा है, ये सिनेरियो इसलिए क्रिएट हो रहा है कि स्टूडेंट कहता है क्या फायदा मुझे इस टीचर का, तो मैं जाकर यूट्यूब पे देख लूंगा, मैं गूगल पे पढ़ लूंगा। लेकिन ये सिचुएशन अराइज क्यों हो रही है? इसको ओवरकम अपने आप को ही हो गया।
Yes, sir. Sir, in this also, sir, just like means way forward मुझे सर ऑनलाइन और ऑफलाइन में भी हाइब्रिड मोड ही वे फॉरवर्ड दिखता है सर, क्योंकि आजकल जैसे आपने कहा कि हमें ट्रेडिशनल और आगे की जो अप्रोच है दोनों को मिला के ही आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा। थैंक यू सर।
फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी हैंड लानी है। अब देखो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी स्टूडेंट को हम लोग चॉइस देते हैं ना, खुद कर लो,
यस सर, यस सर।
देते हैं ना, तो वो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी ला रहे हैं ना हम लोग। ये एनईपी में है इसलिए हम लोग कर पा रहे हैं, अगर एनईपी में नहीं तो नहीं हो पाता।
यस सर।
अच्छा आप देखो, बच्चे को अब हमने ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बच्चे को बताना कि जो करना है इससे लर्निंग क्या होगी। आप इसको कनेक्ट करिए, एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल जो मैंने कहे हैं उसमें लर्निंग है।
और एक कल पुराने
आप देखोगे एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल ऑटोमेटिकली दे आर इन फैक्ट पार्ट ऑफ द वे वी टीच इट। अब लर्निंग में फेलियर है। अब मैं आपको बताता हूँ, मान लीजिए अगर बच्चे नकल करके लाता है, तो काम गलत हो गया, नकल करके लाया तो उसने तो कहा मेरे 10/10 मिल गए, जिसने किया उसको ना मिले। अब देखो अगर उस बच्चे को मालूम है कि मैंने गलती करी है और गलती को सुधारने का मेरे को फायदा ज्यादा होगा, तो गलती नहीं करेगा। ये चीजें भी हमें अपने माइंड में बिठानी है। गोल है, उन्होंने हमें डायरेक्शन दे दी, उस डायरेक्शन को हम लोग फॉलो कर रहे हैं, वो चीजें करने के लिए जिससे बच्चा लाइफ में सक्सेसफुल और गुड सिटीजन बने।
सर इसमें बस मैं यही बात कहना चाह रहा था कि जस्ट लाइक फर्स्ट ईयर में जब बच्चों को ढेर सारी चीजें पढ़ाई जाती हैं, सो वन ऑफ द पार्ट कुड बी कि एक मे बी नॉन क्रेडिट पेडागोजी का जो पार्ट हम लोग कहते हैं क्रिएटिव स्किल्स क्या होते हैं, एक ओरिएंटेशन सेशन इस सबका भी होना चाहिए कि
बिल्कुल होना चाहिए, टीचर का होना चाहिए और फैकल्टी का, वो स्टूडेंट का भी होना चाहिए।
यस सर, यस,
बिल्कुल होना चाहिए। गुड सजेशन।
यस
और
सर।
मैं भी जब लेक्चर में बात करता हूँ, व्हाई नॉट, देखिए ये हमारी इशू नहीं है, इट्स ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड।
सर अगला सेशन भी ले लो।
अरे क्या बात है आप
नहीं नहीं, मतलब मैं तो वैसे कहती कि इतना इंटरेक्शन चल रहा है तो
नहीं, मैंने ऑलरेडी 15 मिनट खा गया, सॉरी।
चलिए, नहीं गुड इंटरेक्टिव। एक्चुअली सर यही होता है कि हम एनईपी से ना, हम बस कागजों में बताए जा रहे हैं कि ये होना चाहिए होना चाहिए, बट एक्चुअली उसको करना क्या है और क्या स्टेप्स लेने हैं, वो दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट। अदरवाइज सब जने बस यही बोलते रहते हैं ये होना है, ये करना है, ये करना है, बट कैसे करना है और क्या उसके इम्प्लीकेशंस हैं, कैसे वो अफेक्ट करेगा, दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड नाउ।
बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं। तो मैं इसको कहा कर चाहिए चाहिए चाहिए, सभी कहते हैं चाहिए,
या
क्या करना कैसे ये तो बताओ ना।
हाँ, यही है ना कि करना क्या है आपको।
हाँ जी। तो मेरे लेक्चर में ये एम्फेसिस होता है कि मैं जो ठीक है ये होना चाहिए, अब करना कैसे। आप जैसे जैसे मैंने, आई डोंट नो लोगों का रिस्पॉन्स क्या होगा, मैं ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी और एक्सपीरियंस लर्निंग क्या होती है, क्यों जो बताना है, उससे इट सेंड्स ए मैसेज कि जो आप सोच रहे हो वो पॉसिबल है।
दैट्स वेरी राइट सर।
हाँ, अब जैसे ग्रोथ माइंडसेट लोगों ने डिस्कस नहीं किया। अब कई बच्चे होते हैं ना, हो गया जी, कर लेंगे जी, हो जाएगा मैडम जी, सर जी, हो जाएगा।
हाँ,
अब तुम देखो, और उसी बच्चे को समझा दिया जाए कि अगर तू ये स्टेप्स लेता है तेरे को ये फायदा होगा, तो मतलब 100% नहीं तो 50% तो कर लेगा।
हाँ,
हम लोग
सब सब पे वो सर, वो तो ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी है ना।
जी
हम फैकल्टी को भी कहें कि आप ये सीओपीओ मैपिंग करो, वो कहेंगे क्यों टाइम वेस्ट करा रहे हो, पढ़ा रहे हैं, पेपर चेक करने हैं, रिजल्ट बनाना है, आप सीओपीओ और करा रहे हो। अब लेकिन अगर उसका आउटकम हम फैकल्टी के बेनिफिट के लिए भी उनको बताएं कि इससे ये होने वाला है, तो वो बोझ भी नहीं लगता वो काम, वो लगता है कि ठीक है करना है, वी विल डू इट। सो वही
नहीं,
स्टूडेंट्स।
उसमें प्रसव एक कमी ये है कि जब तक वो खुद नहीं समझेगा तो वो जो मैपिंग होगी वो ठीक नहीं होगी।
नहीं,
अब
मतलब
देखो,
वही है ना कि आप किस मोटिव मोटिव और आउटकम क्लियर हो तो काफी चीजें मतलब इजी भी हो जाती हैं और रेलिवेंट भी लगती हैं।
relevant लगती, जी जी।
Actually, admissions are going on in our engineering college also. So many parents and students are coming to get the admission. The first question they are asking that where we get the job. They are lesser concerned about what education we get, what type of professors are there. All the society is asking only where we get the job, how much is the job package will be there, and etc. No other questions are
ये
asked by any parent.
डॉक्टर चौहान, अगर उसको ये पता है कि हमारी टीचिंग लर्निंग कैसे रीओरिएंट हो गई है, हम लोग जो एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल्स हैं वो अपने आप क्लास में इम्बाइब हो रहे हैं, तो पेरेंट्स आपसे दूसरा सवाल नहीं करेंगे। पेरेंट्स को हम पे एतबार नहीं है, क्योंकि हम ये इसमें हमारा रोल ज़्यादा है। हमने क्यों नहीं बच्चों में, हमने हमेशा ही एम्फेसाइज करते रहे बच्चों के लिए कि तुम इम्तिहान पास कर लो, इसमें फिर हमारा कसूर नहीं है, सिस्टम ऐसा था। लेकिन अभी तो हम अपना कहेंगे ना कि इम्तिहान पास कर लो।
सर वो हमारा अंग्रेजों के टाइम पे है कि हर
जी।
चीज हमें नौकरी चाहिए।
हाँ,
हम कभी नहीं सोचते क्या हर बंदा आप पढ़ लिख लो क्योंकि नौकरी अच्छी मिलेगी, इस कॉलेज में जाओ नौकरी अच्छी मिलेगी,
हाँ,
आप ये कर लो नौकरी अच्छी मिलेगी। हर चीज हम उसी से जोड़ते हैं। एक्चुअली हमारा माइंडसेट, हमारी सोसाइटी का ना वैसा ही हो रखा है। तभी
बिल्कुल।
एनईपी बार बार बात करती है कि माइंडसेट को भी बदलना है। अभी
सही
जो
बात।
पेरेंट ये नहीं पूछता कि मेरा बच्चा क्या सीखेगा एज ए
हाँ,
इंजीनियर, वो क्या उसकी लर्निंग है, वो सीखेगा अच्छा 4 साल की डिग्री करी, मैंने पैसा खर्च किया तो उसको नौकरी कितने की मिलेगी ताकि मैं पे बैक कर सकूं। मैंने अगर 10 लाख लगाया तो मेरे बच्चे को उतने पैसे की नौकरी मिलेगी कि नहीं मिलेगी। वो माइंडसेट ही सिस्टम वाले में गड़बड़ है सर, वही धीरे धीरे चेंज होना है।
प्रिसाइजली। इसीलिए देखो, देखो एक और चीज देखो, एनबीए जब कहता है अपने कोई भी प्रोग्राम के पीओ लिख के लगाओ, पीईओ लिख के लगाओ, पीईओ लिख के लगाओ, मतलब आप कमिट कर रहे हो कि ऐसा होगा।
हाँ,
आप नोट करोगे, पार्टिसिपेंट प्लीज नोट। एनबीए कहता है कि अपना पीईओ प्रोग्राम ऑब्जेक्टिव हर प्रोग्राम पे लिख के लगाओ। जब आप लिख के लगाओगे तो पेरेंट्स को और बच्चों को ये मैसेज मिल जाता है कि मेरी इस तरह का फ्यूचर होगा, ये जो ट्रेनिंग होगी ये मुझे कर रही, यही जो आप पूछ रहे हैं ना सवाल, एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी हो गई। पीईओ जब बनाते हो तो ये आप ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है कि मेरा अलुमनाई कैसा बनेगा, मतलब आपने उसका सब आस्पेक्ट देख लिए। तो ये सब चीजें ओबीई में बिल्ट इन है। मैं बार बार इसलिए एम्फेसाइज कर रहा हूँ कि इफेक्टिव इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, इनफैक्ट अभी मेरे 2-3 सेशन हैं, व्हाई शुड आई इम्प्लीमेंट ओबीई, व्हाई शुड आई डू इट। ये जो क्वेश्चन आपने रेज किया ना, ये उसमें ऑलरेडी दिस इज टेकन केयर ऑफ।